And we'll get between 3 and 5. We'll recommend like 7, just in case somebody can't. Right? If they're all good, okay. Or we'll name our alternate.
How you doing?
We're waiting for them.
8:59.
All right.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Today is June 12th, 2023, 9 a.m. Jim Wells County Commissioners Court now in session. Agenda item number 3, public testimony. Do we have any?
No, we don't.
Sure.
Sheriff's not there?
No, I think
Judge,
it's,
real quick if I can, for me,
Mr. Timberlake, are you on the public testimony or no?
I just have them filled out a sheet.
We'll get one. Good morning, Court. What I'm here for this morning is to do some capital improvements at the fairgrounds. And what we've come up with, and it's been an eyesore for over years, where the photography area is, we'd always put up banners and they would flop in the wind, and we had to buy banners every year. So we talked with the board, and it was okayed, and we're gonna build a lean-to from the photography area. It's gonna come out to the end of the bleachers. It's about a 22 by 35 area that's gonna be covered, to keep the sunlight and all that from shining in where they take pictures of the animals. The board went out and got 3 bids, and the bids it's gonna get is gonna be 13.5, and the board is the Jim Wells County Fair Association is gonna pay for this project as a part of our part for capital improvements to the fairground. Talking with Intuita, it was too late to be put on the agenda today, but what I like to hear from the court, if we have our blessing, we can move forward and not wait for 2 weeks to the next court meeting.
We can't really respond to anything during public testimony.
Okay,
It has to be on the agenda for us to respond to anything that's on the agenda.
okay.
Public testimony. It's got to be on the agenda.
So what you're saying, we delay it till the next court meeting, construction?
You and I can discuss it later, and then if we got to bring it back to Commissioners Court, we'll bring it back to Commissioners Court.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Jim.
Thank you.
Those are just the rules for everybody, not just.
Judge, if I may, before we take off, Friday, the 16th at 10 o'clock in Bembolt, at the Bembolt Plaza, we're gonna have a dedication for Mr. Javier Garcia on the playground, and you guys are invited, and you go out there, we're gonna have a couple of snacks, and Joey Hosa will be here, so if you guys can make it out there, we appreciate it very
What
much.
time?
10 o'clock, you get an invitation.
10 a.m. Hopefully the invitations will be sent out, but it's Juan Chuy, our Senator, Juan Chuy Hinojosa is going to dedicate a resolution to Mr. Garcia. Anybody else?
What was the date, Wicho?
Friday, the 16th,
Friday?
10 o'clock.
Okay, we can move forward. Mr. Tejerina, he was going to log on just in case we have different questions on this one, but I'm gonna move forward to agenda item number 11. We got our DA and our county court and law judge here. They have court, and they want to be part of this discussion. So agenda item number 11, discuss on possible projects for the interest in sinking funds. This agenda item was originally brought up, I think it was about a month or two ago. Our financial advisor, Robert Tejerina, was here presenting to us. And in order to not to lose our INS tax fund, we need to, before I say that, we are paying all our INS debt by September. In order not to, for us not to lose that tax and that those funds in our budget, we have to borrow money. And right now, it's slated for 1.6. By the end of early July, we should know the exact amount. But this is a way for me to introduce to the Commissioners Court to start thinking about projects. And I say start thinking about projects. Is he?
Robert needs to let him in.
Okay. Can you let him in?
Give me something, guys.
He's down.
Okay, I'll move forward. It was a way for me to introduce to the Commissioners Court and to our community to be as transparent as possible as we find some projects that are eligible for us to utilize the INS tax collection or tax funds. So at this time, I'll open for Commissioners Court for discussion, but my plan is really to introduce it today and to identify what meets the criteria and what doesn't. And then between now and our next Commissioners Court meeting, if we can have a workshop to discuss it further. So at this time, does any of the commissioners have any questions? I know that remodeling fits the criteria. I know, and it could be any county building. I know that we're in desperate need of space for our actually, so we can run properly, because I know that several of our departments right now are jam-packed and they need space. Right now, there's some, questionable calls in our courthouse with how many people we have in some of the offices, So this is something that we need to address, and we need to address, quick and swift. We've talked about purchasing another building. That does meet one of the requirements. As long as we have judicial business or anything to do with public safety, which is our sheriff's department. So that being said, that is, I know that we've mentioned it, and I think we mentioned it that time before here in Commissioners Court, that we have been looking for a building and we're looking for a building that's going to meet all our criteria that we need as far as spacing is concerned, but also meets the financial criteria that we're looking for, and also does not need a lot of remodel. And that being said, it's a tough task because there's not too many buildings from the size that we need here in Jim Mills County, really. So we do have to be very diligent of how we use our taxpayer money. If anyone has any recommendations, we can, I mean, I already threw out new building, I already threw out remodeling,
Judicial,
do what?
judicial.
Well, yeah, remodeling, but if the remodel has, the building has to have some sort of judicial responsibilities for the court in order for us to use the INS money.
Judge, you might want to mention that it's gonna affect our tax rate, and this is the reason why we're going to this, right?
Yeah, who's that?
Michael, you have something to say?
No. Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Court, and kind of piggybacking on what you said, Judge. I'm here all this morning to speak on agenda item 11, discussion of possible projects for the interest and sinking fund. This courthouse, the Jim Wells County Courthouse, was built in 1910, 113 years ago. Today, it is designated by the Texas Historical Commission to be a historical courthouse. It can be assumed that the original members of this Commissioner's Court never anticipated we'd still be using this courthouse today. As the needs of our constituents have increased, the services provided by the Jim Wells County employees have also increased. And thus there became a need to hire more staff and create more office space for the growing workforce population. As a result, the Commissioner's Court found the need for expansion and added the 2 wings back in 1948. Since that last expansion 75 years ago, more departments have been created, resulting in the necessity to hire more employees. As this honorable court knows, every year at budget time, department heads are in this courtroom informing you how busy their departments are and how they need more employees. Consequently, though this necessity for employees represents growth and prosperity in the county, it places a significant burden on the infrastructure to support and sustain the daily operations required to meet these increasing demands. It is a priority concern that can no longer be ignored. The time has come that the county pursue creating a much-needed Jim Wells County Annex. It is a necessity that can be obtained through construction of a new building or purchase of a property that can be renovated to meet the operational demands of our growing county departments. Simultaneously, this county can aggressively pursue grants provided by the Texas Historical Commission for renovation of this current courthouse. In conclusion, the needs of Jim Wells County Department employees can no longer be overlooked. We must focus on a solution that benefits all employees in order to achieve maximum efficiency and productivity. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Judge, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and you made a good point, and I didn't mention it earlier, but I myself and our grant writer and the Commissioner's Court will swiftly pursue any grants that can be coupled with the INS funds. There's certain criteria. If I know there's different EDA grants, there's different grants for, historical commission. As long as the grants that we pursue allow for us to combine it with the INS funds, it'd be okay. If not, then we couldn't utilize that fund. It takes a lot of, it has to meet a lot of criteria to do that. But it is my plan and our plan from Commissioner's Court, of course, with their support. And I think I have their full support on this one to combine any grants that we can use to maximize our money and to maximize our productivity as far as getting a new facility. And I mean new facility, but new to us. But bottom line is, Judge, we hear you loud and clear. And I think, with our Commissioner's Court here, I don't think there'd be any problem with trying to fit that bill. And what we're trying to do here is we are just trying to list a set of possible projects that will meet the criteria. that one's definitely gonna be on. Anybody else? Yeah, yes, sir, come on. Yes, sir.
I just want to say I appreciate you all putting this out there because I think it's a need that we have in our county, our community. And actually, I probably had a discussion with just about everybody here one time or another dealing with the space issues that we've had. And just like Judge Garcia was saying, we've been prosperous, we've grown. I mean, I'm just going to kind of give my department as one example of that prosperity. I mean, between the two counties, I have 3 employees over there and about 10 over here that are covered by the general funds. That's 13 employees. But I have 26 people in my office. The other, almost half of my department is, when those new laws came in and unfunded mandates came up where we were required to do more, but with what? Well, we were lucky because we have had some great partnerships. The grants that I've been able to seek and go after have generally come from the governor's office. Governor's office had some operations, some things that they wanted done in our region, in our area. And so they put it out there, but they also helped by putting some things in place for us to try to get some help. We're able to get, when the governor's office pushed that Operation Lone Star, that was a project, that was an initiative that he wanted for this area. And it affected us because we're part of the area that he was trying to make those changes to. Well, we've been able to get 3 employees, a prosecutor, an investigator, and a legal assistant through grants. Problem was, we got those grants and we didn't have anywhere to put them. They're doing their work. We were lucky that the Orange Grove School District has allowed us to use a classroom on their campus, but that's a temporary fix. We need something because it's hard to have them out in an outlying area when most of their work is tied to the county seat, tied to the courthouse. So it is a temporary fix, but those are just some examples. Another example is dealing with our crime victims' rights. They have rights. One of the rights that they have is they have the right to be provided. They can demand that from us, that whenever they have court, they have a location that they can be secure and separate from maybe the other witnesses, the other individuals in that case that, may have basically been the whole reason we're in court. Well, we don't really have a place to put them. We do our best, but, we're basically displacing a lawyer or somebody out of our office to have them use that office. And, so it's some of those things that, focusing on getting this, more space for everybody. And I'm just using my department. I know there's countless other departments that have the same issues that our office has been dealing with. I went out for another grant that deals with crime victims. As far as, our ranking at the Council of Government, we should get it. If we get it, that'll be another prosecutor that will handle nothing but protective orders. And that will also be another crime victim coordinator as we have more cases going on in different courts, we're spreading ourselves a little bit thin, but they recognize that. They see that we had the numbers, we have the needs in our community, and that's why we're able to get these grants. And so it helps on one side, but then it makes that problem with space worse on the other side. So just wanted to add that I believe this is a really important project for the county, for most of our departments. And so I just wanted to basically come up here and give you some examples of where those needs are, but also the support that you would receive from our departments that have basically been working with you all. And I know you all have worked with us, bits and pieces. We've been able to get a little bit of space here, a little bit of space there. It's just not enough. And sometimes it's just, not efficient because of how far we're having to put everybody. But that's all I had to add.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos, appreciate it. And like I said, we're hearing loud and clear. So I think for the most part, does Commissioners Court have any questions or any ideas they'd like to put out today? Like I said earlier, the plan is to have a workshop where we can all speak freely and create this list for our possible lenders. I know that the auditor's office and our county attorney, Michael Guerra, and we've had several meetings with Mr. Robert Tijerina, who's our financial advisor. And we're trying to, we have to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. I know that, there's a whole bunch of different possibilities. There's different possibilities with revenue funds to accomplish this. We do have 1.6 million on this one per se, as long as we get the numbers at the early July, I think, and if that's what they initiate, then that's what we're going to use. But we also have a general fund, we also have different revenue funds. So we as a Commissioners Court are going to have to figure out how we're going to be able to pay for all of it. And I mentioned earlier that there's only, a few business buildings that we can occupy that are going to fit our needs. But I know that they need remodeling also. So, but I think we're hearing what we're hearing, and I think we're aiming in the right direction as far as Commissioners Court. We know we meet our needs. I know that all this being said about possibly purchasing a building, we also have to. I think it's incumbent of us that if we purchase a building, that we do have a little revenue stream. There's a lot of criteria in that, and we have to really, really dot our I's and cross our T's about possible revenue stream in that building, so we can have monies to pay utilities, and it's not compounding our budgets, our current budgets. So I want everybody to know that all these issues are going to be part of the discussions and the workshop. And like I said, we're trying to figure out all aspects, not just the purchase and the remodel, but how we're going to be able to sustain it at the end. That being said, is there any more discussion needed? Anybody else out there would like to address the court? And when we have these workshops, we have no problem with anybody else coming to the Commissioners Court, because we're trying to be transparent as possible, and we're trying to have anybody that's out there want to weigh in on it that has a good idea. We're ready to listen also.
No, what amount would keep us at the same debt service?
I believe it's a
Like 1.6?
It's 1.6 right now,
Right.
but once we get the final number, is it early July?
Middle of July sometime.
Middle of July?
Get the certified appraisal.
Okay.
Until we have a certified, we know what the number is right now. It's a penny, 1.16794. It's like 1.2 cents is what.
We also have to consider if we go to, like, say, 2 million, 3 million, we will create our debt service would go up.
Well, the idea was to keep the debt service even.
Yeah,
And so whatever what we're
that's what we
currently,
want, that's.
right, whatever we currently
It has to be in the back of our minds, because we might purchase a building that's, or think about a building that's way over that, so 1.6 would be my thought, if we're.
Without changing up or down
Yeah.
the tax rate on the
Because if we
INS?
change the debt service, then we're gonna have to change our budget and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think the decisions that we're gonna make sure that that doesn't happen, for sure. That's why I talked about compounding the amount of money with some grants or with some other monies to make sure that we don't go over that. That's a good point, Mr. Garcia.
I just threw it out there because I want everybody to understand that, that debt service, we're used to paying this amount, so that's what we want to be consistent with.
No, definitely.
And at the same time, we don't want to just go buy something and then in 2 or 3 years, we're in the same place, needing more room.
Yeah, and/or remodeling. So, yeah, we gotta, that's why, 1.6 may sound like a lot of money, but in this day and age, it's really not. And that's why we're gonna try our best to combine those funds to create, 2 million, 3 million, yeah.
I think when we dedicate a workshop towards this, Judge, I think it'll make a lot of difference. We can have the same players here that, whoever wants to participate, like you say. I think we're trying to solve a problem right now. We're just trying to understand it.
Yes, sir.
So I think workshops are
Best way.
in phase 2, I guess, of this.
Yes, sir. Everybody okay? Everybody good?
Thank you all for allowing me to
Hey,
Thank you, Judge.
anytime, Judge. Hopefully we'll hear from you during the workshops.
When is the workshop?
I haven't scheduled it yet, but we will.
Judge, does Robert want to say anything?
Mr. Tejerina,
It's on mute.
you're on mute.
Hey, okay.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. No, good morning, Judge, Commissioners. For the record, Robert Tijerina with Tijerina Galvan Lawrence, the county's financial advisor. And just hearing the dialogue, I applaud the Commissioners Court for discussing this ahead of time. And again, you do have options, and Commissioner Garcia is absolutely right when he brought up the fact that the current INS tax rate with the county auditor, how much we can borrow. The goal from the last time I was there with the Commissioners Court is to keep the same INS tax rate of roughly 1.2, slightly under, but just rounding up 1.2 cents going into next fiscal year. And as the county auditor stated, the INS tax rate is all going to be dependent on what the certified property values, net assessed values will be. And it's kind of like that the seesaw effect. Property values go up, it puts stress on the INS tax rate to come down. Property values come down, we puts pressure on the INS tax rate to go up. So we won't know exactly to the penny how much we can borrow, and that's why we'll be considering this action item in late July once the valuations are in, and move forward with financing. And again, using a combination of a loan and grants are feasible if the grants allow for you to combine the two together. But another point Commissioner Garcia brought up, anything above, if the property values come in at exactly what the preliminary valuation indicated, about 2.3, 2.4 billion, then we know we can borrow about 1.6 million and change. Anything above that will require, if you want to pay 100% INS tax rate, will require the INS tax rate to go higher. If you don't want to increase the INS tax rate and borrow more, then there needs to be a transfer from the general fund into the INS to pay the difference. That's anything above that 280,000 annual bond payment. So again, you can borrow more, but if you want to keep the INS tax rate the same, you're going to have to do a general fund transfer in order to take care of that cost increase difference if you want to maintain the same INS rate. But again, I can't say enough for bringing this up ahead of time and just discussing it, listening to the community, whether it's for it or against it. I applaud the Commissioners Court.
Thank you, Mr. Tijerina. We appreciate
Yes,
you,
sir.
man. And we'll definitely be in communication and correspondence. And I'll let you know when the next meeting is going to be, the next workshop.
No problem, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to participate, and more than happy to help out. Just a phone call away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
All righty, so everybody good with ending the discussion on agenda item number 11? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Commissioner Court. Agenda item number 4, discuss, consider, take action on minutes from previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second to approve the minutes from previous meeting. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 5, discuss, consider, and take action to authorize Commissioner Precinct 3 Renee Chapa to solicit bids for a 2023 water truck to be paid through ARPA funds.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Or you wanna,
You want
Discuss
to
it.
elaborate?
I have a motion, I have a motion, I have a second. Further discussion?
yeah,
Morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Yes, Commissioner Renee Chapa, Precinct 3, it's requesting to purchase a water tanker truck with using the ARPA funds. We will be running an ad on the 14th and the 21st for 14 days, 2 consecutive weeks, as required by our procurement laws, state and our local laws.
how many gallons?
2,000 gallons.
Are we going out for
It's by board, right?
We've also approached the buy board. We haven't had any response. Robert and I met about a week ago, I believe, and we were on the buy board for a couple of hours researching and looking for some of the specifications. Most of what we were finding was just not a lot out there on the buy board. We used the Texas buy board, and we were finding used equipment, and I believe Commissioner's specifications is requesting a 2023 F-750 chassis. I think so
this is different from going out for RFP, right? We're not going for RFP.
no, this is an invitation to bid. When we're looking for like when we use the Professional Act, when we're doing architects, engineers, we do RFPs, or we're looking for a specific qualification, then we do RFQs. So when we're doing sealed bids, we go out depending on the amount, and this is 50,000 or more, we have to post in a local paper of circulation for 14 days, 2 consecutive weeks.
No problem.
This would be a new truck, right?
I'm sorry, sir?
New truck?
Yes, I believe. Commissioner, you want to say?
I mean, the one that we have right now is just old and it's standard. A lot of the guys don't know how to drive them, and I don't want to buy something used and have problems. I'd rather, the county's going to use a water truck from now on, so I'd rather just purchase a new
No, I have
one.
no problem with news. I was just wondering.
So we already have a motion.
So I have a motion and I have a second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. Agenda item number 6, discuss, consider, and take action to increase the ARPA nonprofit allocation for the Jim Wells County Fair Association by $8,062.50. This is an agenda item. I know that Mr. Timrak earlier on public speaking, he spoke about some things that they wanted to do over there, some capital improvements, and this is part of one. Right now, we're concreting the show arena, is that what they call it?
Yep.
And then we will concrete the hog barn, but we're having flooding issues around that space, around that area. We want to make sure that on this one, that we dot our i's and cross our t's before we lay down the concrete. And that being said, we've contacted an engineer, and the Fair Association has accepted the role of taking the reins on this one. They have I think it's 16,125 to do the survey and the study and to give us the recommendation. And I'm asking this court if we can increase the allocation of by 8,000 so we can pay half of that. Since they're willing to pay half of it, we're willing to pay the other half, get this report and get that concrete work done by September 30th. So this is why it's on the agenda like this. The 8,000 is just our half to complete that project. We appreciate the Fair Association with doing their half of this one. And for public transparency, we want everybody to know that this is a capital improvement that's going to improve the fairgrounds, who are owned by us, by Jim Wells County. It's going to improve them for the next decade or so. You know, that concrete's going to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. So that being said, I asked the Commissioners Court to
I'll make
really
a motion to
consider.
approve item number 6 is presented, Judge.
I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Commissioners Court, and thank you to the Fair Association for doing their half and taking the lead on this one. Agenda item number 7. Discuss, consider, and authorize a request for sealed proposals for security system and monitoring services for a term and supply contract to provide security alarm monitoring as well as security equipment.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioner. The reason I have brought this up because you might be aware that our panel system are outdated or obsoleted, and I had to receive recommendation not only from the vendors but also from the loss control committee. They were involved and did some kind of countywide assessment of the needs of the county with to deal with public safety. The main priority is to focus on the security and respond. And we want to be able to make sure that all often need to be responded instantly. If there's an issue, medical, fire, or threat, we want to be able to respond. So we got to have a system in place to deal with that technology. And I was going to ask you if we could submit a request for seal bid in behalf of the loss control committee. And I don't know, the seal bid has to bring up to you, and then we bring down to the loss control committee for the scoring system, or to review it, see what recommendation.
On that, Robert, that's a great idea. Thank you for bringing it to the court. Is that in response to the panic alarms that we spoke about up front?
Yeah.
So if we do that, if we do it like this, are we talking about changing what we have right now and going through a whole new system?
we definitely need to go through a whole new system, because the reason for that, because it has more features to it. Not only to send radio message to law enforcement, I also can send out like cell phone notification to the staff member, and notify the telephone or email, all that, even a broadcast. Because we send a message, we don't know what's going on. The only way we have to wait until the security guard shows up. We want to be able to have everybody to be aware of what's going on.
This is for all county buildings?
Yeah, and we need to expand that to other locations. Like, for example, the tax assessor's office, they don't have a panic button system or anything like that. It's really important we have to have that. The JP office, the commissioner's office, and other probation, juvenile need those systems.
And the system that we use currently cannot be updated?
No, it has to be replaced.
Okay, and I'll give you a little bit more history. In the loss control meeting, I attended that loss control meeting where we spoke about this, because when we had a panic attack, a panic button pushed at the adult probation, everybody, all security responded. So when all security responded, we left the courthouse unattended. So what our recommendation was not only the panic buttons, but a lockdown button. That way, when something like this happens and people have to respond, you lock down the courthouse. That way, there's no entry into the courthouse and no practical threat to the courthouse. I am 100% for the security and safety of all our employees of Jim Wells County. My only question, and maybe someone can help me here, is are we ready for sealed bids, or should we get somebody to come do an assessment?
Well, we've been in contact with several companies,
Okay.
The one that operates right now is AOI, and they're the ones that have been with us, which the sheriff department helped purchase with a grant. Yes, and he tells us that it's obsolete. So he's planning to make a visit, because at your request, to there's about 4 or 5 panic buttons that are not in the proper place, because as people leave and people come back, the panic buttons, they can move around. But the system is a very good system. The thing is that it's obsolete already, so there's hard to find additional panic buttons. He assured me that he could bring at least 5 that he would scrounge up and keep us going for a while. It's a very good system, but it's antiquated. There's a lot of systems out there that provide a lot of security for us, okay? There's some identification where, you can put your cameras out there where you can identify the individual with a yellow shirt, orange shirt, whatever, which this system that we currently have now does not do, okay? There's also the automatic lock door systems that is, but we've been procuring, we've visited with SecureTech, Linux, Security, Ricata. There's a lot of good companies out there, but it's expensive. So he had something like a few money in his ARPA funds, and that's what we're working with. We currently have 84 buttons here at the courthouse. That's 84 panic buttons. That gets kind of expensive. And then we have another additional company with RNF Enterprises that takes care of juvenile operation, which is another 6 buttons. So totally we have 90 buttons. We've been trying to incorporate Mary at the tax collector, assessor collector. She doesn't have any at this time. So what we've been doing is kind of working with these different companies, and we're just waiting for you guys to give us the permission to go ahead and solicit and be able to procure and those estimates and what they offer. Do they offer a panic lock? Do they offer what?
I think it's premature. We've been talking about purchasing a new building. So we might have to go through that same process over. I think we need to table it for at least till we figure out what we're going to do with the expansion.
We may not need the 84 buttons once we expand.
So what I'm saying is, I'm just voicing it, ¿verdad? Because we've been talking about a new building, and now you're talking about adding security and, okay, so is this building gonna be secured or it's gonna be an add-on to an expense that we're gonna incur? So that's the only.
I hear, but when we went through the loss control meeting, they did express an interest of at least having the lockdown, which is where he can pass the panic button and the courthouse locks down automatically. That will be minimal, okay? The current system we have now will probably last us a few years, okay? And if he's able, he's coming here next week to check the other locations to make sure they're in the right places, and we'll go from there. We may not need it, we may still survive 2-3 years, just going out for that emergency panic button that will lock down the courthouse. Okay.
My recommendation is to go that route first.
Yeah, if we could make sure that we find those 5 or 6 and get the departments that need to get those panic buttons installed, that we make sure that happens, and that if we can get the lockdown buttons on the courthouse, that'd be good.
My concern is, Judge, that we have offices that don't have anything. For instance, I've been waiting for over a year to get some services over there in Fremont, and we're way in the back of the city, and come 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock when everybody's gone, and I have office managers sitting there by themselves, and I don't have any panic buttons, I don't have anything, and I've been asking for this for over a year, and I don't think we need to put anybody's safety in jeopardy. I think if we're gonna do it, you can always add on to it. This system here is super old. 10 years ago, I was here working with that system, and it was still here. We're still using it.
And today we had an incident and it worked fine. Okay, it's still working very
that's
good.
fine. That's fine, but we can't add on to anybody else.
But we
I'm
can't.
asking to get it out there. There's other offices, Mary Lozano's asking for it. She's constantly been here asking for it.
In
and we
answer
can't add
to,
on to it.
in answer to your question is, we'll go ahead and address those situations as far as Mary's concerned and his concern, even Margie's concerned. We had included her.
I had an
also.
office here in Alice that we deal with money, and there was a U.S. Marshals the other day there. And I said, what the hell are these people doing here? Well, they were waiting for a prisoner to come out from across the street. And I said, what? I said, I got money here. I got one person sitting in there. There's no safety issues.
But we
No
can-
locks, no alarms, no panic button, no nada.
We can continue to look at this individually, let's say the 2 additional buttons at the juvenile department, the 6 buttons that Mary will require, 4 for you, and then let's say 4 for you. And that will be separately, but that will probably be close to about $10,000, okay? So it's expensive. But that's a one-time expense, and then you just pay the annual fee for monitoring services.
You're
Right
saying
now-
that's adding it onto the system right now?
No, it'll be a separate system.
Okay, yeah, no, I
That's
wouldn't
done
want to
by
add to the
RF
system. We're
Enterprises.
gonna-
In other words, AIO security system is the one at the courthouse. RNF Enterprises does the juvenile department. So, like say, for example, a company like RNF can be hired to purchase that one-time fee, and then all you do is pay the monitoring service.
And we,
It will still cost a couple of $1,000s each group of 4.
and we find,
If we do get the system upgraded, and say that we do go, if we do get the system upgraded for the courthouse, and we know what we're gonna do in July, if we're gonna get another building or whatever our funds are gonna be, that doesn't mean that we're gonna move right into that building. It'll be 2024 before, we would probably
Probably
move
longer
into
than
there,
that.
or whenever. So what I'm saying is, maybe we can look at something to where if we do get this system right here, it can move with us. You know what I mean? Because our technology that we have now is obsolete. I was here, I witnessed what happened, and there's some nasty intentions that could have been done. That puts, you can't put a price tag on life. We're saying that our system is obsolete, it's outdated. And so when we do get our new building, this technology can go with us to our new building.
You just expand from.
Just like moving from ADP, if you have ADP at your house and you go move to another house, your equipment, you buy a one-time fee for your house cameras, that equipment comes, they uninstall it and then go install it in. So, I wouldn't table this. I really think that we should move forward with this as it's a safety concern.
I think we should find a system, like you say, that will expand if we have 20 more offices somewhere or whatever, we can add that. But yes, It is obsolete, and we do need the technology and more people to be informed when something does happen and to protect the buildings and most especially the lives.
I just wanted to ask, do we have more or less of estimates to the price? That way we know in what category the procurement policy.
That's why
gonna
they're
fall
going
into.
for bids. That's why they're asking to go out for bids.
And then after that, we'll see what category falls, whether we do the 450 or the other.
I'll make a motion that you all proceed, and we can always look at the bids and see what we can always modify the bids.
You know what we're
Maybe
even
that's
Yeah,
what
looking
we
at.
have to do.
there's options, for example,
But give us different options, and
they all have different
I
options,
second
like
the
Mercado
motion.
will, we'll concentrate on the panic buttons and the automatic lock doors. Or the other ones say, we can offer the system that comes with cameras and the panic button together. And then.
we need to
that's
cover the
bid.
ones all the departments that don't have security, for sure.
Yes. We'll look at that, and next time we'll come, we'll show you the proposal for those additional offices like Weicher and Margie and, of course, Mary Lozano.
Yeah.
And Go from there. We'll seal bid.
Now, most of the systems have cameras, and which is very useful.
So I have a motion, I have a second. Now, the question,
I did.
What was the motion for this?
the motion
Is
was.
to go out for
was-
sealed
was-
proposals.
was
Go out
to,
for bids?
Seal
yeah,
bid.
to go out for bids. Now, my question on the bids, this is a service and possibly, placing all the equipment. So is this an RFP?
It's a professional service,
It's a
so I don't
professional
know, they
service.
can even be apples to apples. I don't know.
Yeah. I think this is an RFP, correct?
It's
not an
sealed,
administration.
when you go out for sealed bids, then you're going out for, it's not an RFP or RFQ, it's an intention to bid. And that's why I was specific on the agenda item. We sent out an email to Mr. Silva here to make sure that we specify that this is, we're going out for sealed proposals, that's going to specify the terms of the contract, that it also is going to provide the equipment and the monitoring system.
But this is gonna go over 50 for sure.
Yes, so when you're over 50, you go out for sealed bids, and you have to advertise for.
It's not about
It's a proposal.
Would it be,
administrative and qualification has nothing to do with it. We're getting three companies that are going to provide us a service, one, but they're also going to implement all their equipment. So I'm not, how do you feel, Mr. JC? I mean, that I think that's more of an RFP.
Because they're gonna have to specify as far as the specifications.
Just the
Everything.
specs.
That
I
if
mean,
you go out for
It's
bid,
definitely gonna go.
it's gonna be the same.
could we get some of these companies to do presentations,
Well, that's what I mean, and that's what will go out through an RFP.
that way we can,
We'll contact.
I'm trying to understand what you're doing, and I kind of understand, but if you get 2 or 3 companies that would give us a presentation, would probably
Sure,
help.
we'll contact them, and, we've been in touch with them, in different times. So, yeah, all we gotta do is contact them, have them come to the Commissioners Court meeting, and even you can ask them some questions, what else is available, because they have a lot of features that they can
Yeah,
implement.
that's the whole thing. I agree with Mr. Garcia that you're gonna have bids, but you're not comparing apples to apples most of the time. It's
The thing is, we need to decide here, not we need to decide, but if we're just gonna keep with the basic, the alert control notification system, the panic button, they call it different things now. Do you want panic buttons and the automatic lock, or do you want additional features? Do you want to go with cameras? Do you want to stay with this basic
Well,
system?
we're gonna, before you go out for sealed bids, it's like going out for RFP. You're gonna have your specifications, you're gonna have to let them know everything that we're looking for. And I'm not sure if we know that ourselves, what I'm saying is, we need somebody to come do an assessment for us because this is a huge project. This is not, this, we're talking about covering the whole courthouse and all the other county buildings, you know, so this is a huge undertaking, and the cost might be.
Just, that's really what I was asking a little while ago, because it's a different process for the over 50. Safety is very important. They have ARPA monies. I suggest that they work on it as quickly as possible, but I do believe it's gonna be the over 50 that needs to be the third category. And that's more or less what I was asking, because we need to know, and everybody needs to bid on the same thing.
And I think Noe's got the same point, but, and also in our process, if we're going for RFP today, we have to name who's gonna be a part of that group that's going to
I withdraw
evaluate.
my motion, and I feel that we need to table it and get some presentations going, and because like you're saying, it might, we don't know what the cost would be.
My recommendation,
We gotta give them the approval to bring
would
it.
be that you put a committee together, a public safety committee, to first of all, address all the needs, assess the needs, like you mentioned.
They have the loss control.
For all the public buildings, sit down and put out your specs, and then invite different security alarm systems representatives to come and do presentations before we go out and do the RFPs.
Yes, because some of the estimates definitely gonna be right at 50,000. Oh, that was the cheapest, 48,000. And then from there it went up to about 75. Preliminary.
So my motion would be
But
to
if
keep
you already made contact with these companies that have already discussed it with them, why can't they bring them in here in the
They
next meeting?
can.
We can.
And propose it, and then we go from there.
That was, they can.
I think we're just
If we have all,
prolonging everything here.
if the county has already identified and assessed what the needs are in terms of public safety and security for our public buildings, then you can certainly ask
I think we need to,
representatives.
I think we need to approve the RFP, because once, you can't just bring somebody and two or three different people, because these same people are gonna put in for the RFP. So I think we ought to approve going out for an RFP, and I think we ought to name the evaluation committee today and get the ball rolling on that. And at the same time, you're trying to meet with this evaluation committee, and that evaluation committee, if they need to meet with loss control or whoever they need to meet with to get the specifications and to put out the RFP, then you do so. But I think we need to make sure that we're following all protocols, because we can't just get somebody to come and do that, because then they preclude themselves from putting in for the
motion would be
RFP.
going out for RFP, Judge,
Approved to our
with,
RFPs.
with keeping the committee in place.
Yeah.
Which would be
loss control.
Robert, Emede, and Lance.
With your permission, the loss control meeting has already discussed this, not at length, but quite a
Okay,
bit.
so
With your permission, we can handle it through the loss control, but it's.
okay, so Mr. Garcia, I mean, we approved going out for RFP. He's already named Mr. Robert,
Emede, Lance.
Mr. Emede, Lance,
Or JC, no?
and we go Maggie,
Maggie Peck.
Maggie Bettis. And I'd like
And Cindy is also there with the secretary
JC?
Cindy and probably
and the sheriff department,
Mr. Sines,
which is Felix Sines
Felix Sines.
and Reyes, Captain Reyes. They're regulars at the meetings.
Okay, so any problem with that, Mr. Garcia?
No,
Okay.
I'm fine. You just,
You second it, Mike?
we accomplished something.
Okay, so we agreed to go out for RFP, and like he's gonna amend his motion to go out for RFP, naming Cindy Garcia.
The secretary, Cindy.
Oh, okay. Cindy Hinojosa, Felix Sines, Mr. Reyes from the Sheriff Department, Mr. Robert Silva, Emede Gonzalez, Lance Brown, and Maggie Pettis as the committee that's going to evaluate all those processes. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. No, I wrote on mine, all right, okay. Agenda item number 8, discuss, consider, and take action to declare certain county-owned equipment and furniture as surplus and authorize its sale and auction pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 263, Subchapter D. I think there's several different items and equipment. I think, Mr. Silva, you have some in here, Mr. Robert? Let's see. Mr. Ruben Cadena also has several different items on this to be auctioned off. All we need to do is bring them to the Commissioners Court, authorizing them to be auctioned.
I'll make a motion to approve items presented, Judge.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any further discussion?
Judge, I just want
Who's
to
gonna
say,
auction it, Robert?
The same people that,
CNM,
CNM, yes.
GNM? Okay, good deal.
I just want to say, we get the list at the auditor's office, we handle inventory. As soon as they're auctioned off, we'll go ahead and make sure that we take them off of everybody's inventory. Okay?
I think he's already got them in some sort of lot, you know, for,
Once it works, we'll take them off of there.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 9, discuss, consider, and take action for Jim Wells County Precinct 4 Commissioner Weicher Gonzalez to purchase one new Simline 10,000 gallon vertical asphalt emulsion storage tank and with agitator and heater to be paid for by ARPA funds.
Judge, I'm gonna table that item. I was not quite ready for it yet. I'm waiting for one more bid to come in, so.
I have a motion to table.
Second.
I have a motion to table and a second. Any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 10, discuss, consider, and take action to approve a resolution and addendum to the Jim Wells County judge for his designation representative to act on behalf of the Jim Wells County in matters related to entering into subaward agreements with nonprofit organizations who are eligible and have been allocated American Rescue grant funds.
For JC. Yolanda.
JC. You have one of these for JC?
Good morning, Judge, County Commissioners. We're here because if you recall, back on April 28th, the county commissioners approved the recommended funding for the nonprofits ARPA grant funds. Also, back on December 14th of 2022, the county commissioners approved the sub-award agreement that will be entered into between the nonprofit organizations and the county. And you have before you a resolution authorizing or requesting the county judge to be the authorized official to sign the agreement between the nonprofit organization and the county. You also have been given a copy of the funding spreadsheet that indicates the, find mine here. that indicates the final awards that have been, oh, thank you. I gave out my copy. If you look at the last column, you will find the total amount that is now in your resolution for $548,062. That includes the Jim Wells County Fairgrounds, the funding for the improvements to the county's property. And we did have one organization that chose to not accept the award. They felt that it wasn't enough for them to be able to do the services that they wanted to do with the amount of funding. And so you'll see at the beginning on your spreadsheet here, Emmanuel Ministries. And so initially the amount that was recommended was 600,000, but because we have lost, Emmanuel Ministries chose not to participate at this time. And then in addition to that, we have two organizations also who are not eligible to participate. So the total funding amount is $548,062. And you have that, you'll see that in your column here.
So I want to make sure that Commissioners Court, they know the reasons why the two are no longer eligible, because they did go through all the steps. We just didn't, the committee found out at the very end that, I'll let you explain that.
So what occurred is that these nonprofits, unbeknownst to them, were not aware that they were not in their 501c3, even though they did turn that in as part of the application process and requirements that were required. They were, we also asked them, it was their responsibility in the application, they certify that they are in good standing. They have applied for their 501c3 reinstatement. However, IRS is behind in processing because of the pandemic. They are behind. These two organizations have applied for their reinstatement. They will be reinstated back to the original date that they were revoked, but during the time of the application, they were not eligible to apply, unfortunately. So
Is there, can we make a motion, Jim?
I did want to point out that the other part of the addendum you were given a copy of, and it's basically, it spells out, that's Exhibit E that you have there. It's a 2-page. We added that addendum to the contract, to the subaward, and it's a 2-page, and it just condenses the reporting requirements. It spells out what we're going to require from the nonprofits. It just makes it a little easier for them to be able to, for example, on number 3, we're going to ask for a list of their expenditures. And if they buy supplying equipment, we're going to require a list of those, the dates of purchase. It also spells out what kind of monitoring we're going to do. And also in the subaward agreement that you all approved back in December, it spells out specifically that they are certifying here to us that they are not disbarred, or so that was part of the language that was originally there. We just added the revocation list in there as well. Just some minor changes that were done to the subaward agreement. But mostly it was on the reporting requirements. We wanted to kind of condense it and simplify it for them. I will be meeting with them once I prepare the subaward agreement, specifically with the terms and their budget for each of the nonprofits, in this case 16 of the nonprofits. I will be holding a workshop with them to go over the subaward agreement with them specifically and what's going to be required as far as monitoring and expenditure requirements. So I will schedule that. I will prepare these subaward agreements for the judge's signature. Once judge signs them, I will hold the workshop and have the nonprofits come in and sign theirs.
Make a motion that the judge be the designated
I'll second it.
representative.
Any questions?
And the excess money goes back to the,
Yes, sir, it will be
to the
back in,
ARPA general fund.
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I have a motion, I have a second to approve agenda item number 10. Any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha.
Carries, thank you. We've already done agenda item number 11, so we'll go to 12. Discussion on a joint business meeting with the Jim Wells County, the City of Alice, and the Economic Development Board to host the Office of the Governor, Greg Abbott, South Texas Regional Representative of Economic Development and Tourism, Mallory McCoy. Mallory McCoy has just been granted this position by the governor. And what she is doing is she's going to different counties to meet county judges, commissioners, and so forth. And I wanted to take it a little further and bring in our city officials. I've spoken to Mr. Michael Esparza and our mayor, Cynthia Carrasco, and Larry Martinez from our EDC. They're all willing to partner up with us. I think it is, what we're trying to do is have a little luncheon type deal where we're gonna cover, I think 10 seats each, 10 meals each, and host her to provide a brief presentation and a question and answer type deal during lunch. So that being said, that's basically, it's just a discussion item, but I do want, and I tell you what, might have to talk to Mr. Guerra, because if we do all attend, we might just post a notice of a workshop. That way we don't break any rules of having a quorum there. Yeah. That being said, do I have any questions or any further discussion? It was basically an invitation to our commissioners court to be there. I think the plan was to have it at the golf course. Have a meal prepared there at the golf course. Yeah, at the municipal golf course, Alice Municipal Golf Course. So, but yeah, we were able to take Mallory to the Rotary Club last week and introduce her over there. She didn't get to do a presentation or a question and answer because they had already had their presenters, but in the future she'll be presenting over there also. Any questions? Any further discussion? Agenda item number 13. Certification of funds by county auditor for drug abuse and rehab fund 50, sheriff and DA contributions in the amount of $32,956.90. Certified funds in fund 50 to be used for contributions.
Commissioners Court, pursuant to Local Government Code 111.0108, I hereby certify that Jim Wells County has received $32,956.90 in the Drug Abuse and Rehab Fund number 50 from contributions for expenditures. This drug A&R funds, Fund 50, are for expenditures to be incurred by this fund, and that such proceeds are available for the appropriate expenditures. The certification allows for the addition of this funds to the 2023 budget as an amendment. Since the expenditures will be funded and paid for out of drug A&R number 50, I hereby request the following amendments to the 2023 budget. Contributions from the sheriff, 50,000, 352.53, $32,956.30, and they go into the contributions that are paid out to the nonprofits of 50,012,499.00 of $32,956.90. Any questions, please call me. Okay. I'll take care of that one.
And there's no, this is just, that's just informing the community.
Close motion.
It'll be,
Certify the funds.
A second.
yeah, just go ahead and,
Allocation of funds. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Nori.
as we're changing the budget.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 14. Certification of funds by county auditor for road and bridge fund number 23, insurance recovery proceeds in the amount of $30,201.60. Certified funds in Fund 23 to be used for repair materials commix.
Commissioners Court, pursuant to Local Government Code 111.0108, I hereby certify that Jumos County has received $30,201.60 in Road and Bridge Fund number 3, Fund 23, from insurance recovery for expenditures. This R&B Fund number 3 or Funds 23 are for expenses to be incurred by the Road and Bridge number 23, and that such proceeds are available for the appropriate expenditures. This certification allows for the addition of these funds to the 2023 budget as an amendment. Since these expenditures will be funded and paid for from Fund 23, I hereby request the following budget amendments to the 2023 Jumos County budget. The revenue line item is Road and Bridge insurance recovery, which the insurance sent you a check, is 2300,370.80, $30,201.60. And our expenditure items you wanted in is repair materials, coal mix, 23,623, 356.20 for $30,201.60. Any questions, you can call.
Make a motion to accept item number 14 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 15, certification of funds by county auditor for sheriff's forfeiture fund number 53, sheriff forfeiture loan proceeds in the amount of $343,687. Certified funds in Fund 53 to be used for motor vehicles.
Commissioners Court, pursuant to Local Government Code 111.0108, I hereby certify that Jumos County has received $343,687 in the Sheriff's Forfeiture Fund number 53 from loan proceeds for expenditures. These loan proceeds in Fund 53 are for expenditures to be incurred by the Sheriff's Forfeiture Fund, and thus such proceeds are available for the appropriate expenditures. This certification allows the addition of these funds to the 2023 budget as an amendment. Since this expenditure will be funded and paid by the Sheriff Forfeiture Fund 23, I hereby request the following budget amendment to the 2023 Jumos County budget. Sheriff Forfeiture Loan Proceeds, 53,000,380.00, $343,687. Expenditure item is Sheriff's Forfeiture Motor Vehicles, 53,560,577.00, 343,687.00. And this is for the vehicles that they're going to be purchasing. Thank you very much.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second to approve agenda item number 15 as stated. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Agenda item number 16, discuss, consider, and take action on payroll and bills as submitted by county auditor with exception of Fund 52, 53, and 54.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second to approve agenda item number 16 as stated. Is there any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second.
I was talking to Mr. Salinas. You didn't have anything?
Yes.
You want to go back to the?
Let me put a hold on that motion and the second, and I'll go back to public testimony number 3.
Just real quick, Commissioners, we're handing out flags today. They were provided to us by Nueces County Veteran Service Officer over there. which were in turn donated by various businesses there in Nueces County. They graciously gave us 100, so we have them that we're exchanging 1-for-1 flags today. Flag Day is on the 14th. I have posted it on the Facebook page that I have started with the link being on the county's webpage. So I'm putting a lot of good information in there. But just, that was about it for right now. I am scheduled in the month of August to go and work on my certification. That way I can actually see veterans' records and documents and help them in the process for being able to help them out. But it's going well. That's all I have.
So
Thank you so much.
I just, I can't
We
respond.
can't respond.
Public testimony,
Yeah.
Yes.
but
Thank you.
you can meet with
Appreciate
him
it.
after the meeting.
Did you have a question?
You
I'll have
can't,
to
you
ask
can't do it
him.
right now. It's public speaking.
Yes.
Hey, well, can't either. Never mind.
He almost did it.
I'll go to public speaking myself. Anybody out there, any departments of the Jim Wells County that would like to make any type of announcement during Commissioner's Court, please don't hesitate to send an agenda item for Commissioner's Court to my secretary, Ms. Isabel Trevino. Then we can speak freely because it is actually on the agenda. So not only you, but everybody else out there that I would love for our department. I know that a lot of our departments are doing great things, but nobody knows about them. So if y'all doing great things out there, come and present it to the Commissioner's Court. That way everybody out there in the virtual land can know what good things we're doing in Jim Wells County. Thank you, guys. Ramirez, pásale. Come on in.
Good morning, Commissioners. Javier Ramirez from the Nueces River Authority, floodplain administrator. I just come very briefly, and I will use your suggestion to send my request to Isabel. Just very briefly, I just would like to have the opportunity to do a presentation on how a floodplain development permit should look like here in James Wells County. And then I would also like to ask the commissioners the permission to apply for the Resilient Communities program, which is through the GLO, is a $300,000 grant to update the flood ordinances, building codes, and zoning ordinances. But I'll do is I'll forward my recommendations through Isabel and then present it with your permission in Commissioner's Court.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a reminder, to all the Jim Wells County's employees, this week we will be having the TCDRS come out. The retirement system will be located at the Sheriff's Training Center. All full-time employees are welcome. I'll be giving 2 presentations. I have submitted flyers out through the announcements on email, but this is just a reminder. It's happening Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. It's a good time for employees to kind of know a little bit more about the retirement plan. If they're not have an online access already, they're going to be representatives there to help them walk them through the process. Just invite all our employees.
Cindy sent an email this morning that we're getting our safety monies.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. Anybody else? All righty, going back to agenda item number 17, I have a motion, I have a second to adjourn. Any further discussion needed? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion granted. Thank you, Commissioners Court.